I believe you can see my screen, and this is my session opened. Okay, so let's continue, friends. Let's do on this. So we are talking about collections, the very core concept of Python. You know very well, right? Collection is one of the very important topic. So without collections, I don't think we can imagine Python. So let me just see, where is it? There is the list topic. Let me open list topic and stay list. We are not able to find list itself in this. Seems like is it a different? Let me open Python. Did I put this? Python. Yeah, let me open this. Sorry. Okay. Oh. Okay, let's start this now, friends. Collections. This one, right? And we are talking about Python, this list. I believe we had just an introduction in the last session. So let's understand better about Python in today's session. And we had discussed all this in the last session, all the characteristics or features of a list in Python, right? So Python is mutable. We can modify, sorry, list is mutable. We can modify a list. Definitely that is one thing. Second thing is list is dynamic. Dynamic means you can add any number of items into this list in Python. We don't have any limitation. You can add thousands, lakhs, and crores of objects into list. Objects in sense your values like int or char or float or double or anything. Okay, even this kind of data structures like set or dictionary or anything you can put into this list. Okay, so that's about it. Insertion order is preserved because right, this list or this bytes or this byte array or string, all these are indexed data structures. When when this data type is an indexed data structure or a collection is an indexed data structure, then what is that? This insertion order is preserved. We don't have any change in the insertion order. In whichever the order you insert elements in the same order, the values are printed. So you duplicates, yes, you can enter duplicate values. So this is heterogeneous, means it allows you to store different types of values. This is the introduction we had discussed in the last session. And then we had discussed like, one more important thing is, so what is it? Let's go up and check on this. So this one, we can create this list in two ways. What is that? Either by using this index. So that is one thing. The square brackets is called index. The second one is either by applying a list method. Take this one. Just a minute, friends. I've started with bytes, byte array list. Okay. Just a minute, friends. Okay, no problem. I think we can see if anything is needed in the middle. Okay. So let's see this. This is the scenario. Now, if you see, when we talk about this list, we can create list in two ways, friends. What are those two ways? One is by using this index method. The other one is by using this list method, what we call. So I think we have a different document. 1 minute, friends. No, sorry for this is it's okay. Then let's continue. Then the other way of creating list is what is that, friends? So we create list with this one, which a method called as a list method. One is this one. The second one is way to is our approach to of creating is by using this list method. Okay, which one do you follow most in a real application? Means you can choose anything of your choice. Generally, most of the time I see we directly creating list in the Python code. It's sometimes if you want to convert any other data type to list type. So this list method is very useful. Actually, this acts more like a conversion approach. Okay, we'll talk one by one. I don't want to confuse you at this stage. So let's continue. So this is how you declare an empty list. See here. And then after that, you can keep adding values to that list separated with comma. When you declare a list, it has indexing like this. What is that? The index of list starts with 0 or starts with minus n. If the size is n, it starts with minus n. Ends with -1 if it is negative indexing. And here, if it is positive indexing, starts with 0 and ends with size -1. This is how the list is created. And you have to be very clear with these indexes. Okay. Just remember, because we deal a lot of list operations. So having a clear idea and command on this list concept is very important. Then how do you extract a value from a list? We extract value through index like this, something like, if you declare a list like this, x equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then in that case, how do you extract it? Something like you say x of 0, x of 1, x of 2. You are trying to extract each value from the index. So this is how you extract a value from an index. And maybe if you ask me, can't we use negative index, Manoram? My answer is yes, you can choose negative index or positive index. It's up to you. Okay, we have that there. You can choose which one you want. Right, that is fine. But usually we apply more of slice operations on list. Okay. And then apart from that, what else we need to discuss? Something like this. Okay. X equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like this. And then you are iterating it. Another way of printing is instead of extracting through index, we can iterate it. Let's see all that one by one. Okay, let me open PyCharm. I'll show you one by one so that you get a clear idea. Where is PyCharm? Where is my PyCharm? Am I using a totally a different machine or what? PyCharm, yes. Let it open, friends. I think you are able to see my screen, everything, right? And I am audible as well, right? Okay. Right, let's open this. We'll go one by one very clearly. So I think we did all this in the last session. I believe you can see here. We created a list and printing elements from list using index. We tried this and printing elements from list using this one. You can see here, friends, printing elements using iterator. You can see here elements from the list using a for loop. Okay, this is an iterator, of course. So we did all this. Okay, I think we have discussed many things in list in the last session itself. So this is how we try to. I think let's consider it as a quick recap. Okay. But apart from this, the very important thing you need to understand here is, friends, it's about the methods. What is it? It's about the methods. So there are few important things. What is that? Now I am moving to the next this thing of Python. What is that? Suppose you have a list like this, okay, and you want to add elements to a list. So this is the next concept is understanding, iterating all that we have already discussed in the last session. Okay, I think thank you. Thanks for confirming. So we have seen all this by using a loop. We applied an iterator. Sorry, we using for by using for we applied this iteration. So now the question is adding elements to a list. Very important scenario. Adding elements to a list. I'll just show you a couple of use cases how we can really apply list in a real environment. I'll just show you a couple of scenarios so that you'll be clear, like, you will be clear, like, how list can be used. Okay. Now, let's see this now. How do you add elements to a list? There are multiple ways. Iterating anyhow, you just simply apply this looping here. Then maybe I'm adding this code here just for reference. Already this is there. Somewhere there are many examples as well. So now adding elements. How do you add elements to a list? Let's see that. It's so simple, friends. So suppose your list is empty like this, or suppose your list already have some values. Already have some what? Some values. How? Something like 1, 2, 3, 4. So now sometimes what happens is if it is an empty list, we need to add some values to that. Or if it is already a list, still we need to put some values into that list. Is that point clear? In such cases, how do you add? So that too, you have to add these values at the time of writing, processing something, not in the beginning. In the beginning itself, I don't want add any values to the list. Suppose adding values in the beginning is fine. I can add some static values directly like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all this is fine. Excuse me, friends. 7, 8, sorry, comma, 8, comma, 9, comma, 10, comma, something like this. You can keep add some thousands of values, no issues. But the actual purpose is not that. While executing the code, you have to do some validations. After doing validations, you should be able to add some values to the list. So adding this doesn't happen always. This doesn't happen always, friends. Adding some elements to the list in the beginning doesn't happen every time. There are such situations where you need to add values to the list while you are processing your program or script, Python script. In such cases, what is that? How do you add elements? There are already some elements. After doing some validations, you need to put some values into this existing list. Then how do you do that? Then in such case, there is a method called append. We'll talk about all methods or API of list. Now, for now, I'm just giving you a quick idea. Append method. You have to use append method to add elements wherever you want, whenever you want. Okay, append is used to add elements to a list. So this method helps us to add values dynamically. Let me talk about a couple of examples here. See, so I'm removing all this because we had discussed this. So what we do is otherwise let it be there. Now list, and then let me take a file. list operations. Let's take it like this. We can close all this actually. This sometimes confuses. Generally, when you are doing development, no need of all these many tabs open. Okay, you can open whichever you need. That would be enough for us. Right. Following friends, I think you should be clear till this. Anyhow, I didn't discuss much to be clear if you ask me. Right. Now, let's take an empty list. Okay. Now, I want to add elements to this list. I'm doing it straight away one by one. This is what step one. Step one is what? Creating an empty list. Now, you can simply follow this. Next step two is what? Adding values to the list. So how can you do? See, generally, if it is at learning level, elements are included to the list at the time at the beginning of coding itself. Suppose if it is some real-time programming, so you need to dynamically get data, and how do you do that? And we need to dynamically add data to the list. Then in such cases, we have to apply append method, right? Remember this scenario. Append is used to dynamically add elements to your list. Just a quick comment for you, okay? What append does? Append method dynamically add elements to your list. I know we can, I'm just making you clear if I am typing so that you get a clear idea what this method does. And simple tip for you friends, any method on these collections, we simply call with that collection name. This is the collection name X. Suppose there is a lot of API methods here. See here friends. These are all API methods. Now we talk about append, count, index, okay, copy, all this. There are many methods. You can see insert, extend, sort, all this. These are all so many methods in the API. Whichever collection it might be string, it might be list, it might be set, it might be dictionary, whatever collection it is, friends. See, the simple way to just use these methods is the simple way is just call that collection dot. Already I had discussed this. That collection dot, you should say, see, this is intelligence. I mean, this is IDE, right? The greatest advantage is this. When you say that collection dot, it will automatically show you all the predefined methods, functions that are available in these classes. Because I told you some time back, what did I tell you, friends? So in Python, see, whatever I am trying to explain to you, these are all very, very useful things for you, friends, no matter what. So, so just try to focus and try to understand clearly. So in Python, everything is an object. Okay. When something is an object, you should understand one thing. Then definitely a class must exist. So along with if object should exist, before that class must exist. So class must exist for object. Okay. So I'm giving you a background, like how to deal with all this. Next, and another important thing, if it is a class, what will be there inside class? Class contains methods. I'm adding comment. See that all text is in comment. Just keep observing. Contains methods. Got it right, friends? Now, how do you call methods from a class? That here, that reference, whichever the here you are doing a declaration, right? X equal to some empty this thing. You are creating an empty list. This variable name X we call it as a reference, friends. So we call all the methods from these classes, built-in classes, this list or this set or this dictionary or whatever it is. So we call this built-in classes using what, friends? Using this reference here. Okay, so what is that now? So how do you call it now? We call. Anyhow, we talk. I'll give you very detailed clarity about this concept in classes and objects. There is a topic called classes, OOP concepts in Python. You'll get a clear idea about all this. So behind this, how classes are created, how methods are included, how objects are created, how we call methods, all that. But for now, I am giving a quick idea. We call methods using reference. Okay. So this is a quick idea. Now, when I say X, this is the reference dot. And this is dot operator is member access operator. Using this dot, you should be able to call all these methods present in that specific class. These are all methods. This pop, this copy, this append, this clear, this extend, this insert, this remove, this reverse. So one important point, observe this carefully. One important point, if you want to know the API means every class that is built in is called API, Application Programming Interface. And what is this API has? API has all this built-in classes, built-in methods, okay, built-in variables, all that things. So if you want to know about the API of your this thing classes, then what do? You can simply do this, friends. Simply you can say X dot, then you can see all these methods on this reference. Following, friends. Now you can see somewhere append is present here. You can see here, friends. Can you see append? We need this actually. Say append. Now, if you want to dynamically add, not adding elements at the beginning itself, of course you can do that. I'm just giving you multiple scenarios how to play with list when you are working with the real application. Okay. If you want to dynamically add, you can simply say append dot add like this, something like 10. Similarly, append dot 20. You can add any value of your choice, 20, 30. Okay. I'll give a couple of cases today. This is session is going to help you a lot to play with to play with the list in different ways. Okay, if you are really going to work with Python, this helps you to play in multiple ways. So this is how we dynamically add elements to a list, friends. Okay, now what do you do after this? After this, simply print your list. Now, if you print your list, what happens? So append means generally what the nature of this method. Let me give you how this works. This will add always element at the end of the list. What it does, friends? Append add each element at the end of the list, not in the middle, not in the beginning, but where this add elements at the end of the list. Just remember that's all. So another important one, append add elements at the end of the list. Excuse me, friends. Is this clear, friends? So this is another important point. See why I'm typing here each and every important thing so that you don't miss out the important things on these collections. So I told you right in the last session as well. I want every one of us to be very clear with these things because tomorrow you play a lot with these collections, friends. Okay, let's print it. So I hope you are ready to see the result. So now let's right click and then you say run list operations. Now you can see list is created here. And then suppose, right, this is a simple list created with append method. Now again, we'll just play with a small use case now. Is this clear now? This is how you need to add elements dynamically to a list. And how do you add elements dynamically to a list, friends? By using this append method. Right? This is how you do, friends, and you are able to add it. And then you need to call this methods using reference here. And then when you print, these values are printed like this. So this is fine, friends. This is fine for all of us. Now, how this list will be used in a real environment? Suppose you have an Excel data in a real time. I'm just taking that Excel data in a list for now. Later on, when we discuss file topic, I'll just show you a couple of use cases how to play with this Excel data by using these collections. How you can sort out data and push it to list or push it to dictionary. All that we discuss. Okay. Maybe the next topic will be files topic and functions and then files. So I'll show you all that. This is not going to, from here onwards, these collections keep continuing. But now you see here, we have an Excel data. That data has some employee information of different salaries, friends, right? Something like 10,000. I'm just giving you a small scenario, some 10,000 and 20,000. Okay. And I think, yeah, if it is 10,000, 20,000, and then, okay, 30,000. I'm just giving an idea. And then 40,000. Yeah, 50,000, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 60,000, 70,000. Let's take a list of data like this. Okay. 80,000. Okay. And then also below 30,000, you take some more data, like, some 19,000. Okay. That's good. Some 4,000. Okay. Take some data like this. I'm giving a real scenario. And then some 6,000. You take anything. Okay. Some small numbers as well. Some 19,500, some 16,400, like this. Now, this is the requirement. So you have a list of data like this with employee data. Now, and that employee has different ranges of salaries. Okay. So what are those ranges? Now you are seeing, right? Ranges means start from 10,000 to we have up to 80,000. Now the requirement is this. Suppose usually, right, if it is a fresher salaries will be near to some 30,000 usually. So I want to know who are all freshers, just to want to get a quick idea. Who are all freshers? How do I know? Based on salary range, I can easily understand who are freshers. Whomever is having salary 30,000 or below 30,000, we treat them as freshers. This is a requirement. And then whoever has a salary, whichever employee has salary more than 30, we can treat them as what is that, friends? Senior employees. Now, what do you do right now? You have to sort this. This is a simple scenario, but I'm just giving you how to sort this out. So we need to create a simple use case, like, what is the use case? All that freshers, salaries which are equal to 30,000 or less than 30, we should push it to one list. Salaries which are greater than 30 should be pushed to another list. So this is the requirement, and you have to write code for this now. So this is a small use case, friends. So what do you do right now? We are building a small use case. Are you following this? Are you following this, friends? Is this clear now? So what is the requirement? I'll just add the requirement to you. Till this is a simple application. What is that? What is this here? We just created an empty list. And then we use this append method, and using this append method, we have included some values to the list dynamically, right? And then we printed. That is simple intro for list, and all other things we had discussed, this index part, all that. Okay. So now this is another scenario, small use case. Let me do one thing. Let me create a new file, list use case. I'm just adding a new class, list underscore use case, enter. And then now put this data. Now, this is the scenario. This is the problem. What is the problem for you? Simple problem. This is sort out salaries of employees. Salaries of employees. I'm going with more application oriented, because that's help you tomorrow when you try to get into this Python thing. Okay. Salaries of employees whose salary range is in, what is the range here? So some less equal to range is in 30,000 or less than 30,000. Consider them as freshers. Okay. Then we have to put them into freshers. Okay. Else greater than 30,000. Then these people are, what shall we say, experienced. Now we have to sort this data according to this. Should sort out salaries, freshers. So we need two buckets here for this. What is that? Create two buckets, and two buckets means two lists, what we call here. Simply, I'm using little technical words here, and sort data according to fresher and experience. I'm giving you a scenario for you. So that you understand how you can apply your, what shall we say, friends, your Python even program. So this is the problem. Now, how do you do this? This is the data already. Usually in a real time, you don't get data like this in list, friends. How do you get data? Data comes in the form of Excels. Okay, our data comes from through some portals. You don't directly get like this. Okay, in a real time, how do you get data? Data is received. How do we receive? Received in the form of what? In the form of some Excel or something like this. Excel or through some portals. Through some portals. And you need to do some automation on that. What is that you should do? You have to do some automation. So what is that automation? From that Excel, you have to extract this. This is a small use case. You should extract that data and then you have to validate. You do some automation. So now I want to do the this automation of this salary ranges. Okay. Now, how do you do this? We need to create two buckets now. What is that two buckets? One is we have a data here, first thing, which is important here. We have data. Then after that, as per the problem, what is that we should do? We should create two buckets. One is a fresher bucket. So you can say fresher bucket. You can say you say you can see, yeah, you can say fresher bucket or fresher list. Otherwise, you can say fresher list. Second bucket is experienced. Okay, list. EXP list and a fresh list. Fresh means fresher list. EXP means EXP list. Okay. So here this is the data for you. So this is the data, that is fine. Next one, and you are declaring this buckets. Buckets for what? For sorting out data. So buckets to sort data. Now, how do you do? First, initially we don't know who are freshers and who are experienced. So what do you do, friends? Create two buckets, two empty lists here. Okay, now you just created as two empty lists. Now, based on the salary ranges, the problem is so clear for you. 30,000 or less than 30 freshers, else greater than 30 experienced. So you have to write a simple code here. What is that simple code? Validation. You are applying validation. Validating, what is that, friends? Data. Okay, now you have to apply a for loop here for some sal in. What is that you should do? Sal in this x, or you can, if maybe, give a meaningful name. This is employee salaries. All these are EMP salaries. Okay, so now this makes more sense for us. Okay, SAL, yeah, salaries, SALARES. Okay, so now if you see this makes more sense, right? For us, see here. So for sal in EMP salaries. Now, how do you sort this out? Now we know if you want to append data to the list, we can use append method. That is fine. But we have a small use case here. You can see here, friends. So now we are sorting out this salary. For this, what is that? To sort this data, we created two buckets. And then once we do that, you can see the steps very clearly. We have to validate data. How do you validate? It's so simple, right? With all that discussion we had so far in the last 4 to 5 weeks, you know how to use loops, right? You know how to declare lists, you know how to play with data types, all that, operators, everything. And you are very much good with decision making statements. So here you just need to apply a condition check. What is that? If sal, what is that you should do? If sal if sal less than or equal to 30,000. You can see here, friends, less than or equal to 30,000. Yeah. Then what is that you should do under this iterator? You have to iterate this list. I mean, this salaries. And each time you are iterating, what is that? What this is actually, because this is a list, we can apply an iterator on a list. That is fine. And when you are iterating, every time you iterate this one salary from this list employee salaries, you have to validate if it is less than or equal to 30,000. And if this condition is satisfied, then means what? That guy is a fresher guy. And that salary goes to which bucket? It has to go to the fresher bucket. So what do you do? Now you have to, if this condition is true, then this value, this salary should go to this fresher bucket. Then what do you do? Fresher list dot append of what? Sal. That's what you should do. Simple validation. That's all. Else, what is that you should do? Fresh list dot append of what? Again, sorry, not fresh list. Suppose if this condition is false, means what? This salary is not within range of that fresh salary, fresher salary. Means the salary is for experienced. In that case, that salary should go into the experienced list, friends. So what do you do in that case? Here, exp underscore list dot append. Then you have to pass this salary to the experienced list. That's all over. Now, printing data. Printing, yeah, data, no problem. Then print both. The first one. What is the first one? The fresher list. The fresher list. Then what is that you should do? Print it fresher list. Second one, what? Second one is the experienced list. The experienced list. Okay. Exp list and print that. What is that, friends? Print the experienced list, friends. Over. Now run this code. Please run this. Now you can see you should understand a couple of things here. What is that? One thing is you understood that whenever you do some validation, if you want to dynamically add data to the empty list, we applied an append method here. And we applied a simple validation here to sort this data. So what is that validation? You can see here, which if salary is less than or equal to 30,000, then that all that salary should goes to this bucket fresh list. Else this all that data should goes to the experienced list. This is a very simple use case. Now run this now. Please run it. Just you can simply right click and say run list. Now you can see here all that salary which is less than 10,000, sorry, which is less than 30,000 or equal to 30,000 is in fresher list here. And salary which is greater than this one, which is greater than that 30,000 is in this experienced list. I hope you can see here all that is sorted out. Right? Is this clear for all of you, friends? Do you understand this? Is this example clear and is this scenario is clear for all of you? So you can test this. This is the code for you. If you want, you can take this and keep it for you. Just a minute, friends. Okay. Are you good now? Excuse me. Is this clear for all of you, friends? This is a small use case we did today. This should give you a clear, a good idea about what is this. Many things about list here. Right? Same thing in a real time. We don't directly do like this. What is this? All this validation, everything get into a function. That is how we should do. Okay, that I'll show you once we get introduced to functions topic. But for now, we are as we did start discussing functions. So we'll go like this now for now. Is this clear now? This is a simple automation we did on top of salary list. This should be clear for all of you friends. What do you say? Is this clear or did I confuse you with these examples? Can I get your response, friends? Is this clear for all of you? Okay, let's move to the next topic. So now, understanding. Next topic is understand. I don't want to again show you these things again and again. We'll do one thing one by one. Now, next topic is I'm creating a new file. Do you are you guys executing this along with me, friends? Are you doing this parallelly? Are you executing the scripts along with me, friends? Okay, good. That's fine. Now, the next thing is what is that? I'll create one more Python file here, and this is understanding Python operations. Sorry, list operations. Again, I am creating a new file with the name list operations or list API. List API operations. Let's start enjoying a bit of this. What shall I say? This list here. Let's get this understand this list in deep. Okay, or let us expose the list very clearly. Okay, let us get exposed to all methods of list. See, first thing, when you say API means API has what? API is nothing but as collection of all this collection of your classes and then collection of classes. Inside classes, you have what? You have methods. Okay, and generally classes have both variables and methods. So what is that? You have variables and method. That's what a class does. This is a simple idea. Now we have to explore this API. Explore API. Why you should explore API? To understand and to apply your processing in an easy way. If you get a clear idea about all that methods about the class of that this one collection, then it's easy for you to play with your real time use cases. Now, what is this API methods we have now? Simple. Suppose if it is a list, let's take an empty list, or you can create. Already we know how to create empty list with the square that index method, that square brackets. Now let us use this list method. List method has multiple purposes. I'll talk about it once we explore all these API methods. But we know we can use this list method. We can use this list method to create a list. All of us know this, right, friends? So I'm using this list method to create a list, friends. Is this clear? So this creates an empty list. That's all. It doesn't do anything. So that is point one. And if you want to know if it is a list or not, you can check that with the type method. Clear? Okay, that is fine. Next one. Now you say x dot. These are all the methods, API methods, what we have in that built-in class list. Okay, these are all API methods. Now you know about one thing. You are familiar with append method. Then what is this count? If you want to play with all this, you need some data, right? You need to have some data. So what do you do right now? We'll do one by one. Suppose you want to insert data. Append is one way of adding data to the list. And there is another way of adding data to the list. You can see at the right side in the IntelliSense, when I say x dot, you can see at the right side, it is showing from which class all these methods are or functions are. Wherever this it is showing in that when I say x dot, you can see wherever you see here list, wherever you see here list, all these methods belongs to list class. In some places you see object. There is something object. You can see here, friends, some places you see object. You can see here. Then you might ask a question, and these are of course these are not few are not classes. There are some use. I mean, this kind of code constructs. Leave about that. Okay, but point is what you know about list. Okay, we are playing with the list class. So if you see list here at the right side, you can clearly understand. Okay, Manoram, this is list class. So we are seeing list, and the left side thinks methods, and these methods are from list. We understood this, Manoram. But you might come up with the question: what is this object here, Manoram? We didn't get this. Then what is the answer, friends? Answer is simple. So when we say this is all about objects, right? This object is again a super class, and this all classes in Python usually gets inherited from object class, right? Directly and or indirectly, many other methods are inherited from this object class. So you can see this, whichever you see annotations class, and then this D later something, some all this, wherever you see object. So this is nothing but a parent of list. And every class directly or indirectly in Python is inherited from the object class. So automatically when we create a list class, by default that list is a subclass of this object. That is why even if you don't create this object, all those methods and everything from object are by default inherited to list class. Why? Because object is superclass of list. Then automatically those methods from object will be inherited to list. This is a quick idea. Maybe if you want more information, for now you can forget all this. You don't need to remember it, friends. Why? You can forget this. We'll talk about OOP, then you get a clear idea. Now, jumping back to our discussion now. What is it? Talking about API. Let's focus on important methods now. Point method one. Let's explore first method, insert method. Okay, let's go one by one, slowly and clearly. What insert method do? For this, do I need to give any explanation? When you see the method name, you can easily understand here, friends. What is it? Insert, simply insert a value into the list. For that, you don't need to be intelligent or you don't need to have any technical knowledge, friends. Some of these we can easily understand by looking at the names. Excuse me. So insert method is used to insert an element into the list. Then immediately you ask a question. Manoram, you told that append is there to add elements to the list. And again, you are bringing this insert. Then what is this difference between insert and append? Right? You might have a question, right? Yes or no? This is another important question. Then let us see the differences one by one. Okay. All this will be interesting. I'll make sure that you get a very clear understanding about everything about the API of list and also use cases of list. So let us see how to apply this insert. See, this is so simple, friends. Just say x dot, say insert. Just type one or two words. This is a PyCharm, right? It will automatically show that method name under this in the form of IntelliSense. This is called IntelliSense. When you type something, it shows all the list. Choose which one you want. This is like, it is like, giving us a royal this thing support. Click on insert enough. Now what do you do? Keep adding elements 10, 20, 30. Sorry, not you have to do one by one only here also. If I am not wrong, 10. Then again, keep adding few more elements. Or you can simply say, what do you do? Simply say 1, 2, and then 3, and then 4. Add one by one, no problem. 5. And you can print it. Print off. If you have any error, this IDE will automatically uh, detect that error and show us. So we don't need to worry. As long as you don't see anything red, we are good. Okay. Let's print this X. Okay. This is what we do. Now, what is this insert method does? Insert method insert inserts element into the list into the list. Got it, friends? Okay, let's print it. Now we are printing the list here. What is that we are doing? Printing the list. See, by looking at this, we didn't really do anything challenging this thing here. This can be understood by anyone, friends. What did we do? We just created an empty list. What is that empty list? We just created by using that list method, right? Point one. See, what did we do? Created an empty list. That's what we did. And then testing insert method. So we are exploring a method of API. So now what is that? By looking at name of method, anyone can easily understand this inserts an element into a list. Then we did insert one by one here. You can see here now. Okay. And then print it. Right click. So what do you do now? Just test this now. Test this code here, friends. What do you do? Right click and then run list operations. Okay. Insert expects two arguments. Oh my God. Something went wrong here, friends. Assuming that it will directly accept my values, I try to insert. Now you understand difference between insert and append method. So it's asking, see, read the error now. Means whatever I did is wrong. Somewhere I didn't do it properly. I didn't insert elements properly. Then read the error. Now I have a type error here. And what is it saying, friends? Insert expects two arguments and I got one. It is saying, Manoram, I am expecting two. You just gave only one argument with my method. Then you might be thinking, what would be that another argument? That is your doubt, your question. So this Manoram gave some elements. This is fine. But this guy compile this interpreter is throwing error, asking for two arguments, not for one argument. See this, observe this carefully. Then what is that second argument? See, that is what important here. See, now you understand the difference between append and insert. Append takes one argument and by default add elements at the end of the list. But insert is not like that. Suppose if you ask me, suppose Manoram, if I want to insert element in the middle, or if I want to insert element in the beginning, or if I want to insert element at the end, then what shall I do? In that case, this insert method is very useful. Insert is used to insert element at any position in a list, at any index in a list. Is this point clear? So what insert does? Inserts element into the list at any position. Okay, but using this always is not going to yield the proper results. In a real time, more than insert, we prefer to use append again. But now see how to insert. Why? How can we overcome this error? Inserting elements as per the index. Now first start provide 0, 1 means what? At 0th index we are inserting 1 again 1, 2 and then 2, 3 and then 3, 4 and then 4, 5. Now what did we do? We gave two arguments. What are those two arguments? One, the first represents the index of your list. The second represents the value of your list. In that index, what value should be placed? That we are specifying here. Okay, so what do you do right now? So you just say right click and then run operations, and now you can see here. Okay, what is this? In 0th index, you can see 1. In first index, you can see 2. In second index, you can see 3. In third index, you can see 4. In fourth index, you can see 5. So this gives you a clear idea how this insert method works for us. Is that clear, friends? I hope this should be clear. So now you should understand the clear difference between append and list. Maybe if you have a question, what is that question? Insert versus append. What is these are all I'm giving you so detailed, analysis on each of these things. Insert versus append. Now you have the answer here, friends. What is this? Insert method inserts elements according to index. What it does? Inserts elements according to index in a list. But for append and here, when you are using insert, you should specify that index. That is very important. And this is not used much in a real time. Of course, there are certain few cases where you might apply, but not every time this is handy for us. This is recommended. We cannot depend every time on insert. Okay, that is one thing. So second thing, coming to the append, it doesn't need any index to insert element. For insert method, we must specify index. But for append method, you don't need to specify any index. By default, append always appends element at the end of the list. So it adds element at the end of the list. So this is another important use case. This one, add elements or adds anything is fine. Okay, add elements according to index in a list. And here definitely you must specify index and value. So for insert method, for insert, what is that you should do? You must specify what is that you must declare, otherwise you must declare index and value. Okay, for append, value alone is enough. You don't need to use any index for append. So for now, suppose when should we choose append and when should we choose insert? So if you want to insert elements in the middle of list, at the beginning of list, or somewhere in the some part of list, then choose insert method. When insert is recommended? Insert is recommended when if you want to insert elements when where elements at the beginning or okay or middle or somewhere in the list, somewhere in the list. So then you need to use insert method. Okay, but this is clear, right? If you want to insert elements somewhere some in some part of list at the beginning, at the middle, or at the end, even at the end also, it's not like it's just it should be only beginning and middle, okay, or end of list, then we should choose insert method. Okay, but append, what is this append here? By default, always append adds elements at the end of the list. Is that clear now? Now, that's a quick idea, friends. I hope this should be clear for all of you about insert method, about append method, and then insert versus append. Is that clear? Can you just please let me know your response in the chat box? Are you good with all this? Thank you. This is a quick idea. Understood? No? Next one after this. Let's go to the next method in the API. Okay, we understood two methods so far, insert and append. Next. What do we do right now? Shall we use the same program or shall we create one more? Shall I continue within this file itself or shall I create a new file to understand one more method? Okay, I'll do one thing. Let this be like this. I'll create one more Python file, list operations. Few more we will add to this another file, operations 2. Okay. Now again take data x equal to some, put some data here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me, friends. 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's have some sample data. So we are creating a list with some sample data. Okay, that is fine. Next one, what is the next thing we should do? Let's see what methods we can apply. One by one, we do this. Now x dot. So x dot, somewhere there is a mistake here. See here, list is not created properly. Let me close this, remove that. Okay, now you can see this x dot. We tested both append and insert. Let's see count. What is the count purpose? Count purpose, maybe you might think that it gives count of elements, right? So what count does? Let me just show you. Add some duplicates. So what do you do? Please add few more duplicates in the list. Put a duplicate data. Again, if you want, you can add some duplicates. Let it be like this. This is the list. Now, when we look at the name of that method, you understand this what friends, you might be thinking this gives you count means what number of elements in the list, but that is wrong. Okay, let's see this now. So when I say right count of 1, it doesn't give the total count of list here, friends. The purpose of this not count is not to get the total count. Maybe if you ask me a question, Manoram, how do I know how many elements are there in a list? Then we don't apply count for that. Then what do you do, friends? We apply length function. This is, we don't apply count. Then what is this count here? Count gives us the occurrences. Suppose if I say 1 here, friends, it gives you number of occurrences of this particular element. It might be 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it is. Or it might be a list or set or tuple. When we apply count, what count does? I am writing here so that you get a clear idea. Count gives us number of occurrences of a list, occurrences of an element, not of list, element in a list. I think this should be so clear for you. Again, you ask me a question, Shiv, what is this occurrences? We didn't get this point. Occurrences means repetition, friends. What is occurrence? Occurrence means how many times that element is repeated in a list. That is the meaning of that. You got it right. So this is like simple idea. So count gives us number of occurrences of a list, friends. Just a minute. Am I recording this session? This is, I believe, one of the beautiful sessions we did so far. I'm very sure. Okay, it's getting recorded. Number of occurrences. Now, how do you do? Let's test it. Simply doing, we just, maybe if you want, you can assign it. So occurs here equal to. You can assign to a variable occurs, because that means you are finding out how many times this one is iterated. Right, sorry, one is repeated, and print that. Print of this one. Okay, sorry. Print of occurs. Print this. So we are what is that we are doing? We are printing. Okay, data. Right. Let's print it now. What is the output you get here? Let us analyze output ourselves. See how many times one is repeated. Please answer in the chat box, friends. Please share me your answer. How many times one is repeated? One is repeated for 3 times. Then your answer should be 3 here. Right click, run list. You can see here 3. Now did you get a clear idea here, friends? What is that clear idea? Count is used to give us number of occurrences of an element. What is number of occurrences, friends? Number of occurrences means number of repetitions. I hope this is clear for all of you. Shall I give a small use case now? Because now you are getting exposed to the little bit of programming. Why don't we do a sample use case? It's like let's build a small application now again on top of this, right? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this small application building? Let us give a small scenario on taking this example as the as a reference. But before that, are you clear with this count method or not, friends? So count is clear for all of you, right? It gives us a number of occurrences of an element in a list. This should be clear for all of you, right? Now let's see. Let us take one more use case. Right. What is it? Very simple. Problem otherwise. List API, list operations. I'm just using a use case. This precisely this utilizes multiple list methods. One is count. It uses count. It uses append, or it uses insert. Insert. I don't think insert is used here. It uses count and append here. Precisely, it is going to use these methods from the list API. Okay. So now list operations use case apply. Now copy and paste this data here. Right. Copy and paste this data. What is the problem now? Let us define the problem. See, defining problem is very important. Tomorrow there are many websites, right, friends? Once you are really familiar with all this, if you go to this hacker rank or hacker app, there are many more websites are there. For practice purpose, if you want to improve your logic building abilities, application abilities, then if you go and see there, they create a problem like this, like they create a simple problem and ask you to solve. Right. So what is the problem now? Now, this is the given list of data for us here. What is that we have? We have given list of data. Observe this carefully. If possible, you also try to solve this along with me, friends. And anyhow, I am doing it so you can observe if anything is missing. Okay. Given list of data with the, what is that, with the repeated values or repeated values. Okay. Now, what is that you should do? Or with duplicate values. Maybe let me make use actually a right word with duplicate values. Now, requirement is what now? Find out number of occurrences of each element and and print data and print result. So this is the requirement. Okay, this is the problem for us, friends. So this gives you at least some 5 marks. Let us say, so the marks wise, assume that we get 5 marks. So what do you do right now? Now you know how to create list and you have the data set now. This is called, technically people call this as in a real time. This is a data set. You have a data set now. Right. When you have a data set, then what is that you should do? You should take that data set and apply some kind of automation, and then you have to get the required output. Right. And you should create a script and then provide the output. What is that you should do now? Simple, right? If we should get the number of occurrences, you know very well. You can do this in 2 ways, friends. What is this? You can solve this in 2 ways without using any methods. Without any methods, you can completely write a code and then solve it. One solution. Second one, using API. See, in a real time, you don't need to be a Superman. Okay. If you are really good with using APIs, that's more than enough. Okay. But if you are doing it without API also, it's a great thing. So definitely that is appreciated. But for now, our area of interest is without using APIs. Okay, friends. So what do you do right now? Simply speaking, so these are two approaches. But for now, we go with using APIs because we are trying to understand methods of API here. So I'm going to use APIs. Now, point one. Fine. Now, what should we do now? Let us get into the problem solving. We have a data set now. We should find occurrences. So how do you do that? First of all, to keep these occurrences, you create actually in this case, using dictionary is the best option. Why? That element and the occurrence of that element, if you put it into a dictionary, it will be a great use for us. But still, we didn't yet discuss dictionary. I'll bring this problem again back when we discuss dictionary. Okay. So, but now, okay, let us see. Let us add occurrences of each element. Let's print it. That is enough. No need to add to a dictionary now. Later, we will rewrite the same program, applying dictionary as well. So that is fine now. So what is the solution now? Solution, how do you apply, update, provide solution? First, you should know, you clearly understood. We need to get this occurrences. Then you remember whom now? If it is occurrence, which method in the API gives us occurrence? You definitely now immediately remember count. Here count, you just let's come here now. So we need to apply count method. That is one thing. Right. Second thing, what if you want, you can add that result to the list. Otherwise, you can just print it. Simple solution, friends. Simple. See here now, apply an iterator. See, every time when you are working with these collections, every time this iterator for is very much coming into the handy for us. So whenever you deal with this kind of applications, you see in a real time, I think for is used in majority of the cases. Understand now for. So what is that we should do? Elements in X. Otherwise, we can simply say here I got it as a data. You can say data set one. Let me give some meaningful names there instead of XY. Element in data set one colon. Why? You know, right? How the syntax of this for loop works? This is a collection and this is a dummy variable. Every time this collection, this for iterates, one element from this collection is copied to element this one. Okay, friends. So what do you do right now? Let us iterate this. Let's apply it. Let's iterate this, or let's do the validation. Okay, what is the validation I am doing now? I'm trying to get the count of each element. So what do I do now? It's so simple. So this element, if you pass to count method, it will automatically gives us a count of that. Suppose see here, something like data set dot count of. See, I'm calling count method from this list, which is data set one. And then if you pass this element, you are iterating element by element, right? If you pass this element to this count method, automatically it gives us the occurrence or the repetition of that element. So pass that to this count method. Now what is that we are doing? We are calling count method on this collection and passing each this element into this count method. This gives us number of duplicates. Sorry, number of occurrences. Yes, even that is a way of finding duplicates. This is simple, right? Simply you can see, you can see. So we can simply add some count. Okay, val equal to, we are calling this count method and assigning this to this variable. So now we get count of each element and then we are assigning to some variable. So what do we do right now, friends? Now we should print this result. How do you print it? Simply speaking, print count val, comma, and then of course element. This is the element and then count val. So here if you see element is this one, friends. Element is something one. Here you get that. And then count val means it gives you the occurrences. And this is a simple code block you have to create to get the count or occurrences of each element. See how simple this is, friends. What is only thing is in this case, you should know if you want to get the occurrences, you should have some idea about the API. If you don't have idea, then you should Google search, simply saying method to find occurrences in a list. Then automatically Google tell you count is there. Once you recognize count is there, simply if for whichever element you should find occurrence, take that element and pass that to count. Count will automatically gives us number of repetitions of that element. Then assign it to some variable. Now I am printing here. You can see here, friends. Simple code, right? But for this, what do you need? You need some understanding of what the API of list here. That's all, and a little bit of Python basics, looping, and all these things. Now run this, print it, run it, friends. Run this now. Now you can see here. 1 is coming 2 times, 3 times, 2 is coming 3 times, 3 is coming 3 times, 4 is coming 3 times, 5 is coming 3 times, 6 3 times, 7 3 times, 8 3 times. Okay, this is fine. Again, this list started. Again, 1 is coming 3 times, 2 3 times, 3 3 times, 4 3 times. See, this is okay. Program wise, this is fine, friends. Okay, before moving to the next level, I think you are good with this, right, friends? You can copy this program if you want. Okay. We are actually doing a little bit of a coding marathon kind of thing. Okay. Because this is needed if you want to get into a software industry. Okay. At least if you want to do any kind of, software, this thing. I think I have shared this also with you, right? This program also. Else I'm pinging to you. Of course, all this will be there in this one video recorded. You can also copy, type it and get it. I think I have shared this as well. If you want, you can copy this as well. Okay. Maybe if you want this program, just ping me, friends. I'll just share. If sometimes I might forget while discussing the scenarios. Now, this is clear, right? I think you get this scenario, right, friends? Okay. Can I get an yes or no from you? Can you please give me your response, friends? You are good with this, right? Okay, fine. Now, but look at the output here. Let us copy this output and let us put it in a notepad now. Now, Just put it in a notepad. This is your output. See, I don't think this is actually the recommended output. Why? If you just get occurrence of each element for one time, that is fine. But you are getting it for 3 times. How many times you are getting? 3 times. Do you really need your output the same result for repeated for twice or thrice? So this is all not needed, right? Once if you get output like this is the perfect output. But when you look at the output in the code, you can see that there is a duplicate output here. We have to avoid such things in a real program. Okay, and how do you do that? Simply speaking, right? How can you avoid it? You can just add a simple validation. What is that? You can add that with a simple validation. You have to set some validations if you should avoid this kind of this thing. First of all, what you should do is take one more list here now. So how do we avoid this duplicates? Simply, so what you do is you take one more list and then just avoid this list duplicates first. Don't just take a list and uh, one list without duplicates, one list with the duplicates. What is that you should do? One list without duplicates and one list with the duplicates, so that we don't get this kind of output for us. So now another use case. On top of this, we are getting into the next use case. So if we should get this kind of output, we should first filter. We should have a list without duplicates. So what shall we do now? We should create a bucket of list with unique values. So data set 2. Okay. And what is this data set 2 purpose? We need to add only, what is that here? We need to add only unique elements into this. Means you are also now trying to understand how to remove duplicates from a list. So I think this is also giving you an idea, right? This use case gives you an idea how to remove duplicates from list. So we do one thing. Let this program be like this. Create one more program, because we are going into the next sub level of this. Okay, so add one more program. So list duplicate. What do you name this? Let's duplicate test. Let me duplicate check. Otherwise, let's add like this. Now copy this data and put it here. Same data. So this is what doing occurrences is fine. And also what is that we are doing in the second data set 2. So this is for what? To keep elements, unique elements. So here the purpose of data set 2 is so add unique elements here. And this one needs, if you should add elements from that existing list, you should you should remove duplicates and then add those unique elements to the data set 2. Okay, right. Let's do that now. So how do you do that? It's so simple. You might think this is something really difficult. So this application is not giving you the occurrences. This application is what? Application is given the list of data with duplicates. Remove this problem is remove duplicates from the list. This is the problem here. And create a unique list. Okay, without duplicates. So let's do that now. One by one, we can do that. Simple. Iterate this data set 1. Simple. Now, before you do this validation, count all this. First, create these elements with create a list with the unique elements. That's what you should do here, friends. What is that? Create a list of unique elements. So for that, what you should do? Simple. Right. You can just apply a small validation. If element in data set 2. What is the meaning of this? So simple, straightforward English. What I am saying, I'm talking to the interpreter. My dear interpreter, if this element sum 1 is already in data set 2. In means what you ask, like, when you go home, you ask to your mother, mom, is father in house? Means what is the meaning of that? If that particular item, sorry, if that element is there in the list, house is list, father is element, and you are just checking with your mother is interpreter. You're checking small general grammar. This is asking her, is father in house? Means if element in data set 2, is it there or not? Suppose your father is already there in house, your mother's response is what? Yes, he's there. Suppose father is not there, then he is not there. Now that validation you are doing. What is that validation? You are saying if this element in data set 2, then what? Then you don't need to add that element to data set 2. If father is already there in house, again, you don't need to say anything with your father. He is there. Okay, fine. Then you don't need to add this element to the data set 2. Else you should add. Means what? We are just checking if this element is already in this data set. If it is already in data set, then you should skip it. Then otherwise, then only, otherwise, if it is not there, then only you should add it to the data set 2. Is this logic clear? What we are doing, simple validation. If this element is in this data set, to skip it. If it is not there, add it to this data set. Simple validation. So you iterate this iterator, this list with the iterator, and every time you iterate, just validate if that element exists in this data set. If it is exists, then skip it. If it is not there, then add it to the data set. In that way, what is that? You remove duplicates or you avoid duplicates in data set 2, and this gives you a unique list of elements. Right? Let us see this now. Otherwise, there is another way also. If element not in data set 2, instead of writing, if else all that, we can just close this one shot. In one shot, let me give you multiple ways. First, we are checking if element in data set 2, then you can skip. If to skip, we can simply say pass. Else, what is that you should do? Else, data set 2 dot append of, what is that now? Append of element. Here append is the best choice, not insert. Append is the best choice. So what is this now? Now this is the perfect thing. We did a simple validation. We did a simple duplicate removal code block. We created duplicate removal code block. We are just doing a simple validation. If element is already in dataset, we are asking to pass. Pass is just a built-in keyword. If you don't want to do anything, just you can say pass. Like as if you don't know answer, you say pass, something like that. Here, if you don't want to do any operation, just say pass. That's enough, right? It's like a filler, what we call. What is this, friends? It's like a filler. Else, add that element. So if it is not there in the data set, then add it to this data set to that unique list. Otherwise, this is what we do. Now print what? Print data set to. Then you automatically understand. So printing, unique elements are data set to. Otherwise, let's make it like this. Then print, what shall I say? Data set 2. Now see the output. See the output now. What is that we should see in data set 2? We should see unique elements. We should not see any duplicates. Right click, run this. You can see here now. How many times you are seeing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Are you seeing it multiple times or is it only for one time? One time means we remove duplicates completely. So this is how we write a simple code to remove duplicates from a list. Sometimes people ask to write a code in interviews like this. They give us a list of data and ask you to write a code to remove duplicates. Simple code. So this is the simple idea. But still we can optimize this code, friends. We can still optimize this. Instead of writing if else all this, we can simplify this. I'm giving you multiple options for you. How do you simplify? You don't need all these many times. You don't need to validate. Simply come here. See, this is a simple, common sense here, friends. What is that? Instead of saying if element in data set and then passing and then going to else block and then adding that element, you can simply say if not in, if it is not there, simply just change your validation. If that element not in data set, it's so straightforward. If it is not there in data set 2, then add it. Why again one more else block or one more something? So that simplifies. This is much more simplified now. Is this clear now? This is more optimized now, friends. So save this now. Right click, run. Same output, but what you have avoided, you have what is that? You have removed your code and you have what did we do here? You have optimized the length of the code here. Also, you made it much more better code now. Right? So this is how you have to make sure you remove unnecessary validations, unnecessary code statements, all that, friends. I hope this is clear for all of you. So this is how you remove duplicates from the list. This is fine. Then again, you might be asking question. Do you have a few minutes, friends, or today is weekend? If you have some other commitments, we'll stop this session here. Or can you bear for a few minutes? We'll close that the other one, counting, avoiding occurrences thing is there, right? So do you guys have a few minutes? Can you please share your response, friends? Okay, how about others? Because I don't know about everyone's. Just only few minutes. Let's finish that and close this today on a success note. Complete this thing. Now, is this clear, right? So that's all, friends. You can see now. This is a code to remove duplicates. Now we did the duplicate removal. If you want, you can take this code. I'm sharing in the chat box. Right now, again, going back to this. What is this now? Find out number of occurrences of each element and print result. Now we are applying this. We are applying this on top of this one now. This one. Now this code gave me what is this code? This code filtered duplicate elements. Now I use this elements from data set to just give me a proper occurrence of each element. Okay, now let us see how we can apply it now. Now we got this output, right? Simply add one more for loop here for element in. Now iterate data set 2. In the first case, what this loop helps us, removes. This is duplicate validation block. Duplicate validation block. This is what this is. This block is for validating duplicates. Okay, then and automatically once this is done, that duplicates check is done and we can get a unique list of values. Second one, what is the second code block? This code block is what shall I say? Sorry, let's see here. Finding out number of occurrences of each and print. So this is the second code block. Where is this? Now, what do we do right now? Same code you can copy from here, whatever we tried some time back. Copy this and then paste it here. You can remove all this, paste it here. But here, small change you should do here, friends. When you are iterating, don't iterate on data set 1. Data set 1 has duplicates, and if you write same code, you don't see any change in your output. So iterate this on data set 2. What is that you should do? Iterate on data set 2. When you iterate on data set 2, this has just only all unique elements filtered from data set 1. Now this data set is iterated for how many times? Just for 8 times. Now, once you get each element from data set 2, now you have to check if that element, you have to check for count of this element in data set 1. You can see data set 2 has unique elements, iterate that one by one, get that each element and check the count for that element in data set 1. See, these are also nothing but elements of data set 1, right? Just removing duplicates. Got it right, friends. Even this data set 2 is nothing but subset of data set 1 without duplicates. This data set 2 doesn't have duplicates. That's all. Now iterate this. unique list and get each element and then pass that element to the data set 1 and get the count automatically. What is this? This gives you count of occurrence of each of this element in this data set 1. That's all, friends. Now print it. You don't need to do anything. Simply speaking, what is this? Now print data set 1. So data set 2 gives you list of all unique elements. This has what is this? List of unique elements. Data set 2 has occurrences of each element. Okay, occurrences of each element present in the data set 1. Okay, let's see this now. Run it. So maybe this one is what? These are the elements for which we should find occurrences. The elements, that is one. Second one, the occurrences. Okay, now right click, run list. Now you can see here, these are the elements. Yeah, we'll do one thing now. What we can do now? Just a minute, friends. You can see here. Yes, perfect. Because when you print data set 1, you get the same output, right? Now you can see here now. The output you can see. See here, friends. What is it? You can see here. How many times this did we change? Got the different output now? Did we optimize our result now? See here. Here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is just coming only for one time, and you can see the right side occurrences. So this gives us this one. What is that number of occurrences? Second, and here we are printing the data sets here. What is this data sets? The first one is without duplicates, which is we filtered. The second one where we have elements with occurrences. That's all. I hope this is clear now. And did we avoid that printing that data, that repetitive data here? You can see here the result. We optimized our result here, friends. We are not printing that repetitions again and again. We just had one set here. That's all. And in that one set, we are seeing each element, the occurrences of each element here. That's all. I hope this is clear for all of you. Is this clear, friends? Do you get this now? This is a simple idea. How to this code has multiple things here, friends. What is that multiple things? One thing, it is giving you how to remove duplicates. Second thing, it is also helping us to understand how to get the occurrences of each element without duplicating your output. Okay, that's it, friends. So let me paste it here. So that's all about this one. So this is a couple of you know, I think this is one of the good sessions we did, and definitely we tried to break down our each problem, and then we tried to understand each sub problem as well, and we applied each code block that is needed for these problems or sub problems, and finally we come up with solutions here. Clear now? I hope all of you are clear with what we discussed in today's session. So any questions or any doubts, you can stay back. So we are done for today's session. I hope you should be very clear on this. Still any confusion, you can stay back. I can help you to understand this better. No issues with that. Okay.